Okay, I got 4 pinpointers here, and I'm going to test them out on the Equinox, the Simplex, and the Deus. The Deus has the HF coil and the X35 coil, the 9-inch X35 coil. And I'm going to show you how they talk to each other, right? And they're different on all the machines, right? Start with the Garrett. I'll turn the Equinox on. The Garrett works just fine with the Equinox. Let it start up there. You know, it's on. See, it's the Equinox is not really going crazy. Neither is the Pinpointer. So you can have them pretty close to the head, pretty close to the coil. Not too many problems. Turn that off, if I can turn it off. That's one thing with the Garrett, it's hard to hear that Pinpointer turn off. I put it in my bag so many times and it just gets left on, you know. The MI4 with the Equinox, not gonna be good. You hear it clicking and popping? The actual Pinpointer is not liking it. You hear it? You hear that? My gain isn't even all the way up. My gain isn't really very high here. It's at 20, 23 here. You hear that? The Pinpointer is going crazy. It still pinpoints, but in the background, you're just getting a lot of interference with the Equinox. That's why I do not use the MI4 with the Equinox, because the Pinpointer goes crazy, and there's no mute button on that machine, right? TRX. Look at how far this thing pinpoints that head there. It's actually overloading on it right there. That's how sensitive the TRX is. That's why I use the TRX so much in my videos, because the TRX is a deep-seeking detector. Now let's go with the pulse dive. That's not going to happen. Okay. Let's turn that off there. Now let's go with the Simplex. We all know what's going to happen with the Simplex, right? But the Simplex, I can just mute it, right? I can just, right? Just shut it up, right? It has a mute button on it, so you're not being driven crazy by the freaking interference with the Pinpointers, right? You know what's going to happen here, right, with all these Pinpointers. Especially the MI4, man, the Simplex really does not like the MI4. But I have not tested it on the pulse dive yet. Does not like the TRX. It's on right now, see? You can just shut that thing right up. That's what I like about the Simplex. Now I'll unmute it. No EMI, right? That'll happen. I can use the pulse dive with the Simplex, because I can just shut it up, right? Okay, there's the Simplex. Now let's go with the Deus. I haven't tested out the HF coil with the pulse dive either. I'll just start out in Deus fast. Just Deus fast right here. Actually, I'll start out with the X35 coil. It's on, right? Doesn't affect the Deus, right? Still pinpointing, so Doesn't affect the Deus. The Garrett does not affect the Deus. MI4. It doesn't affect the MI4 either. The Deus does not affect. The only detector that gives the MI4 problems is the Equinox. Right? There's a lot of EMI here. Let's go with the. Ooh, the TRX doesn't like the Deus. It's not liking it right now. And I have known that. The TRX doesn't like the Deus sometimes. Every site is different. Every square foot of the earth is different with pinpointers, right? Just fine, right? Doesn't affect it. Not too much. And I can still hit the nails in my deck there, right? Let's see, the Garrett. Not a problem. Try this one again. Here. Not a problem. Now the switch coils here go to high frequency. Okay, come on, baby. Right there. Come on. Is it the right coil? Yeah. Is it the right coil? No, it's the wrong coil. Okay. Let's try the MI4 first. Right there. Come on. Right there. Does not affect the MI4, and the Deus high frequency coil is not being affected by it. And I'll actually go up to the higher frequency. I'll select the higher frequency here. 74 kilohertz. Try that, 74 kilohertz. A little bit. But I have to get really close to it to affect the high frequency. See? The Garrett. Not a problem, man. I can get right up next to that coil, man. Not much can. The Garrett pinpointer really is a good pinpointer for EMI. Except for the Simplex, but the Simplex has that mute button on it. You know, high frequency, right here. TRX, nothing. Look at how far I can get away from that thing, man. The TRX, I'm 10 inches away from that coil there. 10 inches away. Watch this, 10 inches away, man. I love the TRX, man. Okay, pulse dive, high frequency, 74 kilohertz. Oh. Pretty good. I like it. You know, you gotta have pinpointers that do what you want, and the TRX just does what I want, right? It goes deep, it's lightweight. Sure, it may take batteries, but You know, if my pinpointer dies on me when I'm out in the field, I just stick an extra set of batteries in it. I'm not stopped by a dead pinpointer that has to be recharged, right? And I can put 9-volt batteries and I can put AA batteries in that TRX pinpointer. This is rechargeable. The MI4 is rechargeable. It lasts a day. You know, it will last a day. The Garrett takes a 9-volt only. And this is a very durable pinpointer. It's just too sensitive on the sides of the pinpointer, like I've been saying. You know, when you dig a hole out and it's on the surface and you plunge it in there, you don't know if it's on the surface or if it's in the hole. And you don't know where it's at in the hole because this thing detects like 360 degrees all the way around this whole coil right here, right? And it's a short pinpointer. You know, this button's really close to the tip. With the TRX, you got a long way. You can dig a deeper hole and you can get inside that hole a long ways with this button being that far back. And the speakers plug up on every detector. In my soil, I mean, look at the Garrett, it's plugged up. The MI4 doesn't really have a speaker on it. That's why it's so quiet. It has a speaker underneath there, underneath that case there, underneath the cap. And this pulse dive pinpointer, I believe, I've had a lot of comments. I just made a video yesterday on the first time I tested this pulse dive. The buttons on it are not raised, so it's harder to figure out where that button is when your hands are all muddy, and it's kind of hard to push a little bit. But I think if I grab it just like this, just like that, I'll know exactly where that button's at, because this little raised light where the light is at right there, I can just grab it right there just like that. Because with all my pinpointers, I grab them a certain way and I hold them a certain way with the same hand, and because it's like a repetition, right? You want to get into like a flow of digging targets out, and you just hold your pinpointer a certain way and you just start smacking targets out, right? And I believe that I can use this pulse dive. I think that it'll perform for me. It's not going to be nearly as good as a TRX. I just know there's no pinpointer that can match the TRX. And if Garrett doesn't make the TRX, they are screwing up really bad, man. Because a lot of guys are asking for those TRX pinpointers, man. They pinpoint on the tip, man. That's why it's called a pinpointer, right? You want to pinpoint on the tip, right there, right? You don't want a detector. The Garrett detects all the way around this whole pinpointer, right? So it's not really pinpointing. My detectors can do a better job at pinpointing targets in the hole than this Garrett. This thing doesn't go very deep. The pulse dive does not go very deep, especially on lower conductive targets. And you saw how it's going to respond, how it's going to interact with my detectors here. The Equinox can't use the pulse dive. With the Deus, I can. But you know, every pinpointer that you get or every detector you get, you never know how it's going to respond to your detectors, or you never know how your pinpointer is going to respond to your detector, and at different frequencies. You know, I might be able to stick it in different frequencies, the Equinox, and make this thing perform, you know. But as it is right now, there's no way I can detect with this pulse dive and that Equinox. Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Because it doesn't have a mute button on it. The only reason why I can use these pinpointers here with the Simplex is because it has a mute button, right? If I try to use these pinpointers, all these pinpointers, with my 268 version of the Simplex that does not have a mute button, I wouldn't want to use my 268 because it doesn't have a mute button. But I love that detector, man. It was my favorite version of the Simplex, man. Actually, I think I'm gonna use it tomorrow, to tell you the truth. I haven't used it in a few months, and I think I'm gonna use it tomorrow, but I'm definitely not gonna be using it with this thing. Definitely not going to be using it with this thing. Definitely not going to be using it with this thing. Definitely won't be using it with this thing. I'll just have to turn my pinpointer off or turn my detector off when I use my pinpointer, right? I had a lot of videos about a year ago with the Simplex 268 or the 267, and they are hard videos to watch, man, because the EMI is just so horrible, man. That was the best innovation in the Simplex, that mute button, man. The first couple hours the first couple of hours that I used the Simplex with my two pinpointers, I was using the Garrett and the TRX. It's like, man, the pinpointer button on the Simplex, they should just do away with that button, right? You don't need a pinpoint button on the Simplex. It's actually useless anyway. Even all the versions, they're just useless, right? It should be a mute button, right? To shut the thing up when you turn your pinpointer on, right? If you go back about a year or so, I had hundreds of videos with that damn 268 and just in the background, man. They're hard to watch, man. Those videos are hard to watch, but I was getting a lot of silver. You know, that 268 is actually my favorite version, man. That thing just slammed silver out of the ground, man. I got over 100 silvers with that 268 version. Over 100 silvers my first 6 months. And with the Deus, not much can affect the Deus with pinpointer wise. It actually matters on the site, you know. Some days, some sites, the EMI is really bad with your pinpointers, and some days it's not, you know. Some of the videos that I had with the 268 are really quiet, you know. It's just, some sites are just weird with that, you know. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but every site is different every day, man. The soil's different, the EMI is different, you know, the weather's different, your mood is different, but all I know is I am not going to be able to use this pulse dive with the Equinox. I might not be able to use it all if I keep on dropping it like that. Okay. Anything can happen in live videos. Well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe.